In the 1980s, which country was one of the richest in the world per person? The United States? Switzerland? No. The answer was a tiny Pacific island nation called Nauru. Its GDP per capita briefly ranked among the highest on Earth. There were no income taxes. Healthcare and education were free. For a moment in history, Nauru looked like a paradise built on endless wealth. But today, as Nauru celebrates its Independence Day on January 31st, it stands as one of the poorest and most fragile nations in the world. So what went wrong? On January 31, 1968, Nauru gained independence from a United Nations trusteeship, administered primarily by Australia, along with the UK and New Zealand. What the world saw was a tiny island. What lay beneath was a fortune. For thousands of years, seabirds had deposited droppings across the island. Over time, this created massive deposits of phosphate, one of the most valuable fertilizers on Earth. After independence, Nauru took full control of its phosphate industry. The island suddenly became one of the most resource-rich nations per capita in history. Money flooded in. The government distributed generous dividends and allowances. Most citizens didn't need to work. There were no income taxes. Healthcare, housing, and education, including overseas study, were fully funded. Some members of the elite famously bought luxury cars and mansions abroad. Stories spread about unimaginable wealth, some exaggerated, some legendary, but all rooted in real excess. Nauru believed the money would never run out. But resources are never infinite. By the late 1980s and early 1990s, nearly 80% of the island had been mined. The phosphate was running out. Worse, the government's investments failed spectacularly. Hundreds of millions were poured into overseas real estate and even a London musical. Many projects collapsed, others were mismanaged. The land itself was destroyed. What remained was a jagged limestone wasteland, impossible to farm. With no industry and no savings, a nation built on wealth suddenly had nothing. Without local food production, Nauru relied on imported processed foods. Physical labor disappeared from daily life. Today, Nauru suffers from some of the highest obesity and diabetes rates in the world. The wealth that once erased hardship left behind long-term health and social damage. Today, Nauru survives through foreign aid, fishing licenses, and payments for hosting Australia's offshore refugee processing center. On every January 31st, Nauru celebrates its independence and remembers its lost golden age. The story of Nauru teaches us a brutal lesson. Wealth without preparation becomes a curse. Resources are finite, but the wisdom to prepare for life after prosperity must be infinite.